Tonight, a power shock. Could a big bill close down a popular Port Pirie pub? And how the unemployment drop is translated around the top of the Gulf.
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening. Well, as we know, power prices remain sky high in South Australia, and the highest electricity bill has been delivered to a local pub in Port Pirie, filling the Portside Tavern with uncertainty. With such a cost, the owners aren't sure if they can survive.
Many businesses in the mid-north have been hit hard by the latest electricity price increase. The power bill for the Portside Tavern is massive, with an increase of 118% spread across 3 other businesses also owned by the pub.
So we're talking $2,000 a week, so $26,000 a quarter will be our power bill, over $100,000 a year.
And now, with the latest bill, the Portside Tavern is in jeopardy, unsure how it will survive the next 12 months. The increase is the biggest thing that's ever happened to the local pub. This bill is a game changer.
To actually stop paying myself, so between all our venues we have 85 staff who are going to get paid. The other option is, do I pay myself and do I sack staff, and hand the problem back to the government, because then they go on their books and not mine. It's a harsh reality of where business is at.
The state government has a $550 million plan aimed at fixing the problem. And locally, councillors looking at installing more effective street lighting to reduce electricity costs for businesses here in Port Pirie.
That's like putting a band-aid on a shark bite, in my opinion. Let's get back to the problem. The problem is power's too expensive. It's the most expensive place on the planet to buy power is in South Australia.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The latest jobs data shows the state unemployment rate has come down 0.3% from May, and in the region's last recorded quarter, unemployment has decreased in the Upper Spencer Gulf.
With the highest jobless rate in the nation, SA's unemployment rate is showing signs of slight improvement as well as our region. The Upper Spencer Gulf's last recorded quarter shows an overall decrease in unemployment numbers, and Port Augusta's mayor says he expects that number to go down even further.
I only met with the other mayors this morning at our mayors and MPs meeting in Port Pirie, and certainly we can see that trend's going to continue to go in that direction, with not just the announcement in Whyalla, but certainly as Near Star progresses and goes into stage 2, and some of the renewable energy projects, some of which have started here in Port Augusta.
Department of Employment data from December to March this year shows drops in unemployment from around the region. Port Augusta saw a 0.3% reduction, Port Pirie down by 0.7% and Whyalla by just 0.1%.
Obviously, anyone would love an unemployment rate of 0, but let's be real, we'd like to get ourselves in line with the national average, so we've still got a couple of percent to go to get in line with that national average, and I reckon that's a really comforting place that we could be.
The Upper Spencer Gulf isn't the only area to see a reduction in the unemployment rate. Port Lincoln has seen a 0.3% reduction, while Broken Hill has seen a drop of 1.7%. The next round of employment data will be released in September. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Iron Road is looking to tap into Whyalla's knowledge of the mining industry for its Central Air project. The company gave an update on its progress this week, saying the city has a big role to play in making it happen.
Iron Road's Central Air mine near Woodner is no small-time project. It'll export over 21 million tonnes a year for around 25 years, and will see construction of a 140-kilometre rail line to its new port at Cape Hardy. The company has briefed Eyre Peninsula councils on its progress over the last week.
It's one of the biggest infrastructure projects in South Australia, and is registered in Australia for its size.
And the company wants to make use of Whyalla's developed mining and construction industry. Mr. Schultz says the city has a century's experience in mining iron ore, something they're in need of.
It has a wonderful skill set which could be used, because again this is a big mining operation. Certainly could be used further over on the peninsula.
He also says many Whyalla expats who moved due to Arian's decline are in contact looking for a job on the project.
Have lost their jobs in Whyalla and are now currently flying in and out of the Pilbara, saying, get your project going so we can come home.
And with 2,000 jobs needed for construction, the RDA says the project can help stabilise the region's declining population.
And we're an export region, we've got to be competitive, or we'll close up shop and leave, because there's no jobs left and communities disappear.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill Council's plan to upgrade Patton Park in the city's south have suffered a setback. The council is now looking at alternative ways to fund the project after the bid for state funding was rejected.
A visionary project that has hit the skids.
It would have allowed us to fast-track that work, but unfortunately we were unsuccessful on this occasion. We came close.
Council had applied for $700,000 in state funding to beautify Patton Park in Broken Hill South. The plan included new play equipment, improved footpaths and a new toilet block.
Yeah, Council's been working very closely with the Patton Street Village and members of that to try and look at ways and means of revamping not only Patton Street but also spending some money in the park to upgrade that.
Mr Ronkin says the application was very close to being successful, making the short list of the last 30 projects from over 400 applications.
I mean, the park's obviously a focal point of the community and beautifying that makes that a very attractive place for people to want to go, but also really trying to activate Patton Street itself and make that connection between the shops and that entire vista along Patton Street through to the park.
But with Council recently deciding to take out a $10 million loan, the upgrade could soon come to fruition.
The whole pretense of that was that Council would look at fast-tracking infrastructure renewal in terms of footpaths, parks and gardens and disability and inclusion access. So, you know, we've got plenty of opportunities here to be able to do this work.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
2 public officers from Adelaide will face court after the state's Anti-Corruption Commission referred their cases for criminal prosecution. The charges relate to an incident in Whyalla Stewart on the 25th of October in 2013. A 46-year-old man from Morfordville has been charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, while a 30-year-old man from Torrensville has been charged with a count of aggravated assault causing harm. In a statement, the ICAC Commissioner Bruce Lander says the charges amount to corruption under the ICAC Act. Both men have been bailed to appear in the Adelaide Magistrates Court in just a few weeks' time. Well, stay with us. Still to come in tonight's local news, how Port Lincoln's drug action team is helping to fight the scourge on the EP. The details ahead. Welcome back. West Coast Youth and Aboriginal Health Services in Port Lincoln are joining together to fight the scourge that drugs has on the community. Local groups are now working with the Alcohol and Drug Foundation to offer public forums and a new measure to fight the battle.
Taking a new approach in fighting an old villain. Community services are providing regional forums to seek public information on the impacts drugs and alcohol have in Port Lincoln in hopes of finding some common ground.
We're posing the question, what do you know? The reality of drugs and alcohol in our community. What do you know about what supports are available? What do you know about what help is around for people?
West Coast Youth are partnering with Aboriginal Health Services to tackle the issue head on.
Have a open discussion and how we can best approach it, how we can tackle what's out there and support each other in doing it.
These forums are part of a regional drug action team to help fight the stranglehold drugs have on local towns.
It's not just with the methamphetamines or drugs, it's with alcohol also that we want to look at addressing and providing a service to our people out there.
West Coast Youth are working closely with the Drug and Alcohol Foundation to measure the impact action teams have in preventing use. The latest response by community groups falls on the back of a state government pledge to inject more money and resources in tackling the drug issue.
It's a whole of community issue. It's not a specific policing issue or a community-based issue or a hospital issue. It is a whole of community issue and we all need to work together on it.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
An Aboriginal aged care home in Port Augusta has received nearly $200,000 in funding for upgrades. Those from the Wamikata Old Folks Home say the funding has allowed them to improve the centre's safety.
A safe place for the elderly, which will now be even safer. The Wamikata Old Folks Home manager says that a concreted emergency assembly area is just one result of government funding for the Port Augusta home.
It was dirt, it was sandhill, and it makes it very hard to push wheelchairs through the dirt, so now it's been concreted if we ever have to evacuate.
The aged care home caters to the Aboriginal community and has received $170,000. With the curbs and uneven surfaces once a tripping hazard, the upgrades are set to improve residents' quality of life.
It's going towards improving the access to the facility, so the resealing of the roads, the new front gate, which improves the security for the place.
The cooking and craft building are now in the process of being retiled. With the funding, Waimikata has been able to extend its palliative care hut with a veranda and much needed space for visiting family.
It's pretty significant for Waimikata, and it's been something that we've dreamed of for several years now, and we're finally going to be able to provide that very valuable service to the Aboriginal community.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
An international women's group has celebrated 34 years of empowerment in Port Pirie at their annual handover dinner. Members strive to educate and enable women locally, and awards were presented to members for their services within the community.
Soroptimist International is one of the largest women's service clubs in the world, with 6 country clubs across South Australia.
In Port Pirie, we look to inspire women to take on leadership roles in their community and to make the best of what they can be.
The annual handover dinner recognised the hard work Port Pirie women put into the community.
At the handover dinner, we celebrated our 34th birthday, and we reflected on the year's work that we do locally, and we also get involved in international projects supporting them.
The Look Good, Feel Good program run locally was a success, helping chemotherapy patients feel their best.
A fabulous partnership between beauticians, hairdressers, the breast care nurse at the Port Pirie Hospital, and we support women who are undergoing chemotherapy to help them be more confident about their appearance when changes start to happen through that process.
And at the celebration dinner, Catherine Johnson from Port Pirie Council was presented with the 2017 Women's Achiever in Community Building Award, recognising her services in the infrastructure industry.
There's a lot of wonderful women doing work here in Port Pirie, and it was very unexpected and a lovely surprise.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. When we return after the break, from Paris to the port, a new chef taking charge at a popular EP restaurant. The details ahead. Back. Nominations are open now for the 73rd Annual Whyalla Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year Awards. With the Whyalla Steelworks future now secure, the Chamber says it's a great chance to reward those who've thrived during the tough times.
Every October for 72 years, Whyalla has recognised the best of its local businesses. It'll do it all again this year, with the Chamber of Commerce Business Awards now open for public nominations.
The Chamber is a very strong advocate for the business of Whyalla, and also as a Chamber, 73 years is a fantastic achievement by any organisation.
The city's premier business will be chosen from its Business of the Month competition, with a local icon also set to be announced. They'll also recognise the best apprentices and trainees, and the public can also have their say on businesses in Whyalla by nominating someone for the city's Retail Employee of the Year.
When they go to these particular shopping outlets, and if they believe that that assistant has given them very, very good service, then they can nominate.
October's dinner will be the first since the sale of Arium's Whyalla operations. Mr Hayes says with the future of the town now secure, it's time for the community to give recognition to the shining lights in local business.
With the feeling that's come back into the community, we'll start to see those nominations come in very, very soon. So a great night out. It is the calendar night.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The Port Lincoln Hotel has appointed a new executive chef with expertise in French cuisine, having worked for the best kitchens in Paris. Chef David Ravel is transporting his culinary tastes to Port Lincoln with a new menu to feature the region's finest seafood.
From the streets of Paris to the plates of Port Lincoln, the region's latest culinary master, Chef David Revel, will soon be dishing out a new experience at the Port Lincoln Hotel.
Bring a bit of French cooking and Asian cooking all together, and to try to do something that people around here haven't tried.
The hotel's new executive chef has an extensive background in cuisine, having been tutored by one of the finest chefs in his home country.
I had the opportunity to work with a chef coming from a 3 Michelin star restaurant. It was the best time of my life.
But David's passion soon brought him to Australia, working for a large restaurant company. This saw him develop new techniques, infusing fresh flavours.
The Asian cooking is really different than Western cooking. The way of processing the product is really different, and that was a really good opportunity to understand another way of cooking.
David's culinary journey has since landed him in Port Lincoln, working with one staple that can't be matched anywhere in the world.
Port Lincoln is just a better place to be. The seafood is really fresh. I guess you cannot get better than what you get here.
Chef Rebel's French-infused menu will be ready for Port Lincoln taste buds early next month. Hotel guests can enjoy a fine dining experience, plus new bistro options. And take my word for it, it's absolutely delicious.
To do something different, basically, and something that people will enjoy to eat.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Well, local footy continues this weekend. Here's this week's Footy Tips.
Hello and welcome to round 11 of SGL Football. We start this round with Port taking on the Lions at Port Pirie on Saturday. The Lions started this season as one of the favourites, but after 10 rounds have fallen well short of expectations. Port broke through for just their third win of the season last week, ending a 6-match losing streak. I'm tipping Lions. In Port Augusta on Saturday, it's top place Solly up against Central. Solly continue to impress with their high scoring and tight defence. Central were held goalless last time these two sides met and will be desperate to avoid a repeat of that performance. I'm tipping Sollies. On Sunday, Western South clash at Port Augusta's Central Oval. Matches between these two are always fiery and I'm expecting a fierce contest. West will be looking for an improved effort after managing just 3 goals in their loss to Solly last round. South are coming off a big win last week and will be looking for another strong performance this Sunday. I'm tipping South in this one.
Some big games coming up. Saturday at Bennett Oval, it's Rapina versus Roona Bay. Again, both teams still have a big shot in making the finals. They really need to win this game. Bays have dropped off in the second half, so I think Roos will get themselves an important win here. Saturday's game at Memorial Oval, South Whyalla versus Central Whyalla. South still within a shot. They must win this, but Centrals are going along quite nicely. They'll finish in the top 3, Roosters to win. And finally on Sunday, match of the round clearly, first versus second, Bennett Oval, North Whyalla versus West Whyalla. These teams will play each other again, definitely in the finals, so it is about pride and seeing where each other is at. And we'll stick with West, given they've won both these previous occasions so far this year.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips. We kick off this round at Centenary Oval with Lincoln South taking on Tasmans. Both teams need to win this game as top 4 is on the grabs. The winner likely to play finals football. Tasmans have a lot of players back this week, so I'm going to tip them in a close one. Tasmans by 4 goals. In the next game, we've got Marble Range heading to Poole Oval to take on Boston's. Boston's are good at home, however, it's going to be a Marble Range day. They should win this one comfortably. In the last game, we've got Waybacks heading to Mallee Park. First versus second, and it should be the best game of the round. Waybacks have got close to Mallee Park this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get an upset. However, I'm not brave enough to tip against the undefeated Mallee Park, so I'm tipping with them, Mallee Park by 2 goals.
This week in Broken Hill football sees the Robins go over the hill to play South. West are certainly trying to hold on to something and hold on to their group, but I think it'll be the Southerns easy in this by 100 plus. Second game sees the Bulldogs taking on the Magpies at the Jubilee Oval. The Bulldogs will be looking for another win, so will the Magpies. With their great core group and some great players in amongst them, I think they'll be looking to beat the Bulldogs, but I believe it'll be the Bulldogs by 20 points plus.
Well, stay with us after the break. A look at the local weather. Welcome back. Turning to the weather now, and first tonight's weather photo taken by Tammy Tugwell out near Wallaroo of some very menacing storm clouds. If you have a weather photo to share, be sure to email it in to us. A fine and sunny Friday across the board, 21 for Port Augusta and 20 in Whyalla today, 19 for Port Lincoln and Port Pirie, Broken Hill sunny and 16. On the national satellite, not much in way of cloud, clear skies over the days ahead. On the waters, the winds to 20 knots and northerly tomorrow, seas to 2 metres and southerly, sunrise at 7:20. So a fine Saturday on the way with 22 in Port Augusta and 4 Whyalla as well. Port Pirie 20 with 21 in Port Lincoln. Broken Hill on at 19 degrees. Then looking to Sunday, 18 the top for Port Lincoln with a passing shower, then fine next week. Cleve also on 18 on Sunday, 21 in Woodner and warmer next week. Whyalla with a fine 20 to wrap up the weekend, 22 expected in Port Augusta. Kadina on 17 degrees. Port Pirie 19 for Sunday, also fine next week. Clare with 16 degrees for Sunday and Broken Hill 21 degrees to wrap up your week. weekend not looking too bad at all. And that is the local news for this evening and for the week as well. We'll see you back here on Monday night from 6:30. Stay with us now for Friday footy as the Crows meet the Cats. I'm Tim Hatfield from the Southern Cross News team. Have a good evening. Good night.